So this rubber sole is attached to this, which is attached to the welt. Pull this off all the way down to the welt, and I really want to see how the Goodyear Flex-Welt, the patented Goodyear Flex-Welt is. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife, I've got this one, and I'm going to just start, I'm going to get in here between, okay, here's the welt, and there is the midsole. So I'm going to see if I can get in between, and find a spot where I can see it real good. I'll get in there, because I'm going to have to cut these stitches all the way around, and if there's cement on this as well, which it seems to, it doesn't want to lift up at all, which you would expect that on a boot that's supposed to be really waterproof. So then maybe once I get it started peeling, I can take a brush with a little bit of lacquer thinner and kind of loosen that glue as I go along. But that's what I'm going to do. I imagine it'll take a while. I'm going to probably have to open up a door or window because it's hot in here. But anyhow, so that's what I'm going to do. When I get it started, we'll come back. Maybe I can get it started real quick here. I want to make sure I don't push my blade into my inside sole. And probably best to come up here. Then I can pull it back from here. They do have cement on this, as well as stitched to that midsole. There we go. Okay, and this says double stitching up here. It's there's 2 rows of stitching all the way through the toe. That's why it's so hard to get. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, now if I can get it started, get some tension on it, and get my blade in there. Start cutting those stretches. As you can see, this is going to take a while. So, there, I've got it started. So, I'm going to go ahead and try and get this off and check back in here in a little bit, and we'll see what we have. Okay, so I just started cutting the threads that come through here, through the welt, and pulling this as I go, and it's got cork in there. And it has cork all the way. Looks like I can see the little, you can't, yeah. There. Right in here's the little fiberglass shank, which I don't know. Anyway, so I've got to finish. What I'm doing is just pulling on this, keeping the pressure on it, and being careful not to get, I'm starting to here, to get into my welt, and just cutting the stitch when I can, and pulling as I go. And it's hard to get off, but because they did put glue in here. I was going to try to get some glue thinner in there as I go, but this stuff smells so bad, and I don't know that it would actually get far enough back. I think it works really good on leather, like if this was leather. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this off. I did wait. Okay, basically what I'm doing here is just cleaning this up. I will get under the thread and pick it up, pull. It usually just pulls one thread through. Maybe you can see it, just like that. And then I got these little pliers. Just yank it out. So basically, taking these soles off is the heaviest, dutiest seam ripping I have ever done. So anyway, so I've got a long way to go and another boot to do, but that's what I'm doing. So look at that. All of these holes I can reuse. I can stitch that down. Won't take very long. Well, it'll take long, but I'll get it. Both boots are done. This is a little bigger. I didn't like the other one, I trimmed it. I'm going to try to break it off. I'm going to beat on it, make sure it's good and tight. Then I'll sand it. Okay, I'm going to take my sandpaper, go over to the trash can and sand it so we are relatively level across the bottom, and then I'll be back. And then maybe by then, we'll do the other shoe. 36 grit. This will be the bottom. I'm going to sand this really good so the sole will adhere to it. I'm going to sand it before I stitch it down. That way I don't have to worry about sanding my threads and weakening them. That's why I wrote left on here, so I know it's this, it goes here, so I don't mix it up and go, oh, and put it on the bottom on that one and I don't have it properly sanded. Okay, I'm going to let this down. I'm going to feel on the sides with my fingers that I got some hanging over each side until I get past this arch. And then I should be able to just roll it down. Because once it sticks, once it sits down, it's stuck with this. And I think I'm good. Yep. Okay. Really close right there. And right there. So it's a good thing that I did go just a little bit wider, or I would have been very sad. So I'm going to start right here at the center of this, and I'm just going to work around like I did on the other boot. Give these a good hard squeeze. And then I can trim it, then get my awl out and go to work sewing, which will take a while, but I have today off, so nothing better to do. Well, I suppose I got something better to do, but I ain't going to. I'm going to do this. These are just, I think they're called sheet metal pliers. They don't have any little ribs in there, little teeth. But just a regular pair of pliers would work. I like these because they're wide. And they don't have any teeth, see? It's flat in there. So, made it all the way around. Now, I have a blade that I'm going to use to trim this, and I got my cut gloves on because I don't want to cut myself again. And so I'm just going to follow along real slow along the edge here. And I don't know if you can see that. This midsole material, I'm not sure what it's made out of, but it does cut real easy. So that, and it's thin. Doesn't take a lot of effort. So one of my things I want to make sure I do when I do this is not get and cut here. And I want to keep my blade straight up and down with the shoe as much as possible, so it's not cut at an angle. If it's an angle towards the outside, then I could clean that up with a, sand it to make it, square. But if it leans in, then I can't. So I want to try to make it look as nice as I can. And I don't want to cut into my welt because I want it to, have as much holding area as it can have. Okay, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut all the way around on this one and on the other one. But you get the general idea. It's okay. All of the midsole has been trimmed. There we go. To match the welt. as much as possible. I suppose I could do better, but I care. There's a little bump right here, but I'm not going to get too worried at this point, because what I'm going to do is, once I put my regular sole on here, then it will be, I'll trim that as well, and then any of the little high spots, then I will wind up taking a sanding and sand it up so it's as pretty as I can make it. Put some tape around so I don't scuff up my leather with my lacing hook, or this part. And I went a little higher here because it's harder to get in here, so actually I may go a little higher, and probably a little bit over here too. Okay. This is, I'm going to do this like a speedy stitcher. This is just an awl with a needle, and I've got this heavier string than what my speedy stitcher would use, plus I think my needle is broken on my speedy stitcher. So how I pushed this needle through, I should have recorded this, I thought I had it on, but I've got the slot here for the thread to run through on the back side. What I did was I pushed this through, and then it was able to pull the thread, and it started another stitch. So anyway, so this would be my second stitch. I've got my first one. So I'll just slide this into this hole, into the next stitch location, push it through, pull it back, and then take my long piece here. Can you see that? Push it up through that hole that it makes in that. Now hold on to the string with my hand, just pinch right there, pull it back, and then I can go like that and move that right down in the middle. So now start all over again. So I don't know how many holes I got here, but we've got 2 done. We're making progress. So from the next location, push through, pull it back, and as easy as this is going through, I didn't need to go through and make my holes before like I did with the other awl. So oops, wrapped around my chair leg. This. There we go. Got 3 done. So you get the idea. I'm going to save some battery and some video space. I'm going to go around, come back, and we'll tie it off. Another thing, when you're doing this, you can, when you poke your thread through and you pull it back, instead of going all the way to the end to find your string, your end, you can just, just reach down, grab it around your finger, and make a little loop, pull it through, and like that, pull it back through, move on to the next one. Seems to be a little bit faster than if you chase down the tail all the time. Just like that. That. Hook it up. Pull it through. Alright, here's what I've got. Stitched all the way around. Started here. All the way around. I'm about to finish up. This is my second to the last hole. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this in. Pull this tight. Just like every other stitch. The first one, second one, third one, all the way around, just like that. Now I'm going to go through here And I'm going to pull this tight. Now we're all the way around. I'm going to take another stitch in through this hole that my very first stitch that I did. Okay, come right out. Up through there. Pull that tight. Now I'm going to come back through the previous stitch. And now I want to get this string that's on the top side, I want to get it pulled down to the bottom here. So I have enough to tie it down here. So I'm going to cut it off so I'm not pulling so much string through. So only need just a little bit to tie it. I have this much left over on each side. Pretty good guess, huh? And this is the side that's in the little groove on the needle, so there it goes. Doesn't want to slide real easy through. So now completely free from the string. Got some wax in that groove, but so now we have just this double stitch there, and it would probably actually hold even if you didn't tie it. But I'm just going to just do an overhand knot.
Your dinner's done?
Okay. Tie that like that. And cut it. And then when we put our sole on here, that's clear out here, out past where you will walk. You won't ever feel it on your foot because your foot's in here. You won't even see it on the sole. That'll, when we put the sole on and we hammer that sole, that'll just smash down and be there and never come loose. Now this boot now can actually be resoled again and again and again and again and again. Oh boy, I'm going to have to go this. That'll come right off. This can be resoled many times. The same way I'm doing it here. If a person cuts all the threads off and then sews it back down, it could be remachine soled, stitched down. Or if you, when we're done this, if the person decided to just peel the new sole off of the bottom, the old one, if he was resoling it, then you could sand this and clean it up real good, and then just slap the new sole on and trim it and be done. I like the white stitches on it. I got some edge dye. I could probably dye them so they're black, but I like it. Okay, I have finished both shoes. Piece of cork stuck on there. Both of these boots now have been, the midsole has been stitched into the original holes in the welt. Both boots. Rip off the cork crumbs. And I peeled the tape off. After I took the tape off that I had on there, I took this brush, black polish brush, and just kind of went along and cleaned that up real nice. Just a little bit of the stuff from the tape was stuck on there. But anyway, so now all I gotta do is wait for my soles to come in, and then I can put those on. So these would still be when I get those new soles. These would be ANSI certified still for non-conductive footwear. So these are going to be really pretty nice, I think. With speed laces on them. Anyway, I guess we'll get back to this once my parts come in. UPS brought the new Vibram Sierra soles, and this is a size 8. I've already sanded them, 36 grit, sanded it so it's nice and has lots of areas for the cement to adhere to. And we sanded this before we attached it here and sewed it down, so we're good to go to put this on. But I want to make sure, really sure, that I line everything up perfectly on here. So they look symmetrical on the bottom. I want to make sure that I have this thicker lug back here under the heel. It's going to be a little long. They didn't have a 7 wide. These come in 8. I think they come in 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14 or something like that. I did get a size 10 and a size 8. These are a size 7 wide boot. And I was concerned that this wouldn't be wide enough across the ball of the foot. And it is. Since this is a medium sole and a wide boot, being one size, this boot being one size smaller than this sole. And that is why if I'm going to wear a regular width boot, I have to go to an 8 for it to fit my feet width-wise. So, and as you can see here, there's not a whole lot of room. I'm going to bring this back here, and that, really, there's not a whole lot. I mean, that's right at the edge there, and on this side a little bit. On the bottom there's a center, and on the heel there's a center mark. So I have a little white pen. It writes on stuff and it scrubs off with a rubber eraser, or sand it off, or whatever, it'll come off. So like if I write up here, I could buff it off of here. I could get it off of leather, it's what it's for. But I measured on this seam, or this back strap, from here to here, and found the halfway on that. I think, I forget what I measured on this, but halfway point, and then I put a mark pretty close to what I thought it would be right there. And then on the front, I set it down on my map and looked at what I thought on these inch wide things would be a good center point, and then looked down the center of the boot, and it was pretty close, so I put a little pencil mark right there. Sometimes I will use an ink pen on these, but you can see it until you put the glue down, then it's really hard to see that after the cement's on there. So I'm going to use this white, and I'm putting it right here so I can see it on the outside, and then I'll clean up later. And I did it on both soles and on both boots. And then I just kind of went ahead and from the center point, I brought it down and put a center mark here and here, which I did on both of them. So I don't want to screw this up. Often I do. I'll get it off a little bit, which if they're my shoes, that's fine, but I would like to, it isn't fine, but you want, these areas are your wear areas when you walk, so you want as much as you can here. And you want it balanced up here, as much as possible. And on the toe on this particular one, we want as much of this as we can. So I set this down and I eyeballed it, put it on the bottom, and lined stuff up and slid it around. And it seems like about 5 centimeters in from the back on these sets really nice. Just the wrong sole. Nope, that's the right sole. And it seems like it sets pretty good. And if I hold that down, move this to the center, it looks pretty good, so I'm going to squeeze it pretty so it doesn't move. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm still squeezing it so it shouldn't slide unless I move my fingers or something. And I can feel press it down, I can feel along and see how close I am. I can't see it probably. And that's pretty darn close on the edge. So, oh, of course it is because it slipped. There we go. That's better. And I would hope that it wouldn't be off too far because the heels aren't wide. It's the ball of the foot and the toe box is wide. So, my goal now is to get cement on both pieces and be able to put it together and not get off too far. On sheet soling, it's not as hard because it's just flat and it's really tiny grains, and the pattern's not real deep and real wide, so you can be off, 3 or 4 centimeters, and not centimeters, 3 or 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters, this way, that way, whatever, and you won't ever see it, and it doesn't matter. It's not any difference in the wear areas. But on these, it's going to really matter. So, I'm half tempted to take some clamps like these metal spring clamps. I got these, I don't know, garage sale or something, a whole bag of them for almost nothing. Couldn't pass them up. So I'm kind of thinking that what would happen if I found where I wanted to be on my sole, clipped it so it can't move, and then went to the back, turn it upside down, clip it on both sides, turn it upside down where it's exactly where I want it to be, lift this up, glue this or cement, let it get tacky until it's going to adhere, and then roll it down. That's what I think I'm going to do. Then I should be able to make them almost perfect. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to line this up, get it perfect, get some clamps on the toe in probably 3 places. And then I have the last still in here, so I will stick it back on here on my last jack and get it. We'll get glue, cement on it, and then we'll just lay it down. Then that'll stick, it won't move. Then I can take the clips off and do the exact same thing up on the toe and call it good. The videos I see of professionals that do this all the time, to me, it looks like they just, are good at it, and they just line it up and eyeball it and put it down. But okay, this is the first one that I've got ready to put, and as I was trying to keep my 5 millimeters at the back, I found out that I had to get that lined up and then clip it back here and then work it up from the back frontwards and clip it here and then here and then up at the toe, while I, as I lined it, made sure it was lined up with my center mark here and on the end of my boot. Because it kept, if I thought it was good and then I started here, it wound up moving back on me. Start here and get some glue drying, and then once that's stuck, then all of this just has to follow in place. So, guess no time like the present. I'll look it over real good again. Looks pretty good. Okay. Well, I'm not going to want that laying back down while it takes 15 or 20 minutes to dry. So I'll figure out what I'll do. Put my apron on. Here, smell that. What's that smell like? Not very good, huh? It's probably not good for you. What was you doing? Down in the basement sniffing glue, was you? Okay. So just like we did before, when we put this midsole down, we put glue on our surfaces that we want to stick, both surfaces, and then let it sit there and dry for a while. I don't know if this is the best idea or not, but that's what I'm doing. There's people that do this every single day, all day long. They would have been done a week ago. I forgot to turn this on, but I had this pulled back and I just poked a pin into it to hold it with a piece of string up front, and I just laid it down, so I'm going to beat on it. It should be stuck pretty good. This is what I had, was this string up here. When I pulled this back, I just took this safety pin, poked it in the very end of it. So I'll set that aside. I'll take off my clips. And pull this back. Make sure I get lots of cement back in here on this edge. Or not lots, but make sure it gets all the way in there. That little safety pin thing worked alright. So I think I will just poke it in here, get some glue on it. That, and I'm going to get busy gluing it, put it down, hammer on it. Okay, here's what we got. I'll get this one glue, just put it on, and I got the heel done obviously. I went ahead and here's the other boot. Not too bad, huh? I trim the excess off with this. It's not clear to the welt, as you can see, and it's not pretty. But I'm going to sand this with. Okay, this is my economical purchased sander. There's a disc and a belt, and this is what I use to clean up my edges of the soles. You can see it's pretty rough, and I cut them back quite a ways, but not really close, because I wanted to make sure I had ability to kind of clean this up and make it look nice. So I'll show you a little bit how I do it. I use this for on the toes a lot, and then the sides I use at the other end. I just try to hold the boot straight looking down, so it looks like I'm looking down while I'm wearing it. That way I try to get it as square as I can up and down. And then just kind of rotate around. I probably could put some more paper on here. It would cut a little faster. Actually, it's probably filling up with rubber from last night on the other one. I could probably take a piece of wood and clean that rubber out real quick a little bit, and then it'd probably cut a little bit faster. Basically what I'm doing, I'd already worked on this side a little bit. I'm just going to try and clean it up when I look down at it. When I look down at it from the top, then it looks nice. Or my belt or my machine's squeaking, but